So here we are out on patrol. Not much really happens, at least not in Clearwater, Florida. It's 99% boredom for one moment of sheer terror. Yeah, I've had a few close calls, prevented a few muggings. It's those few moments that make the rest of the time worthwhile. One night I pulled over to try and put out a car fire. I was lucky the darn thing didn't blow up in my face. I could have been killed.
What is a real-life superhero? A real-life superhero is basically anybody that uses the effigy of the American-born superhero to get their point across to their public, whatever their drive or compassion may be, looking for lost kids, helping the homeless, whatever floats their boat. I started out as a professional wrestler back in the 90s, and I tore my ACL in half, and that was pretty much the end of my wrestling career. The character wouldn't die. My gimmick, superhero, wouldn't die, and he just kind of stuck around. And then I was superhero in a few TV pilots and commercials and things like that. Now, this was before social media became a real thing or anything. So there was the only way, I knew there were a few other guys, a handful of them in the country. That's when I started going out in my gimmick, looking to help people and that kind of thing.
New Year's Eve was actually our first date. And so he was going to come up to Bricktown, which is a nightclub right next to Gold's Gym where we met. And I didn't know anything about superhero or old superhero. Nothing. He just was a gym guy, with a nice build and a nice smile. New Year's Eve comes and we, rang in the new year, and he gets there around 12:30 in his superhero gimmick. Well, I really don't know what my thoughts were at that moment, except this dude is not like anybody else I have ever met in my entire life. And his suit is obviously spandex, and it's red, and here's his presence.
I never thought I was going to see her again. I was like, wow, I'm never going to see her again. That ended in disaster.
And I just was kind of in awe that someone would feel comfortable enough to wear that and be absolutely, totally fine with it.
But I was a very sickly kid. I had bad nerves and everything like that. Didn't grow up in the best of households. Godzilla was probably my first friend. When I was 4 years old, and of course he's big, and he's take charge kind of guy. And so I had my huge Godzilla collection, and I met this woman in the early 90s. We were getting real serious. She says, I cannot wait to redecorate this place. And I said, get out. She says, what? I said, get out. She's like, you aren't serious. And I said, Godzilla's been my friend since I was about 4. I've known you for about a year. Do the math. Sorry. Godzilla overall.
So between the superhero persona and this collection of Godzillas, I have never met anyone like this.
Oh yeah, I was horrifically bullied in school. Horrifically. Was a complete and total outcast. I'm glad I didn't grow up in the era of social media, because at least I had 8 hours of rest before I went back the next day for round 2. Comics and cartoons and sci-fi and things like that were my escape. But I always saw guys like Adam West and William Shatner and all these big, take command, able to take care of themselves kind of guys. And I guess I just wanted to end up like them. That probably influenced my superheroing, later on in life. I used to patrol a lot more frequently than I do nowadays. Nowadays I do more philanthropy and things like that than I do patrol. When you do patrol, you go out looking for people at the side of the road to help, people that just need assistance in general, A couple of times I've been out, I've prevented car fires. One night I was walking through a bar looking for a guy. Another guy in there decided he wanted to try me because I had my gimmick on. Didn't end very well for him. So many things happen when you're not in your gimmick. Like I said, I wish I had a magic watch like Johnny Sacco or something where I could push the button and my gimmick would magically appear. And I saw this old guy sitting at the side of the road and he's sitting there beating his shoes out. So I turned the vet around and came back and said, "Can I get you anything?" And he says, "Take me to the soup kitchen." I said, "Okay, get in." And so he reaches over and cranks my radio and he's yelling, "Hey man, look at me," out the window of the car. And I drop him off at the soup kitchen. He gets out and he waves back to me, still holding his shoes in his hand and everything. So he was the homeless guy that arrived at the soup kitchen in a Corvette. He was the talk of the soup kitchen. But a lot of stuff happens when you're not in your gimmick. So that's why a lot of superheroes end up turning to philanthropy and stuff like that. It isn't from lack of superheroic effort. It's more for filling time. So it's just always being vigilant, always being ready. I enjoy, working with kids. I enjoy letting them see a real superhero, because they want to believe that superheroes are real. So why not let them? I just wanted to take a time out to thank everybody who donated and who pulled together so well to raise the funds to send Power Boy to the Mayo Clinic to get his seizures treated. I just wanted to say you guys are all the real superheroes. There's all these emo kids that, find the superhero community. "Oh, well, Adam West Batman is no good because Batman was originally a dark gothic fairy tale." And I said, well, you better, find a copy of the original Batman from the 30s to take a look at, because it was nothing of the sort. It was a Mickey Spillane novel. "I got 3 slugs in me and 2 of them are gin." And he comes up and he goes, "Where's the broad? I ain't telling you." Pow! And then, I swung through the window and broke his neck. But that's what Batman originally was a Mickey Spillane novel. It's kind of the thing you deal with in the real superhero community, is running into everybody has their own vision of what it's going to be. I'd say to anyone that wants to do it, don't limit yourself. If you want to be a real superhero, then do a variety of things. I mean, look in your comics. What character has done the same thing over the years? So just evolve. Let yourself roll with it and do whatever, comes to mind. When I first started doing it, I was kind of damaged goods. And I really didn't care what happened to me. Just being perfectly honest. I wouldn't go so far as to say I was suicidal, but running around in tights in the middle of the night looking for trouble is kind of suicidal. I can watch documentaries on serial killers like Henry Lee Lucas, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and I can just literally go down the list and like a checklist and say, my mom did that, 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 the whole way down. The whole way down. There was a lot of abuse. A lot of abuse. Verbal, emotional, physical, a little bit of sexual. You were nothing, you were nobody, you were property, nothing is yours until you're 18. Beaten with just about everything she could get her hands on. My dad was not a bad guy, but he was completely shut down. He wasn't much of a parent either, even though he was not abusive. There's a way out. Big and strong is the way out. There was a dispute. He hit me, I picked him up, I slammed him through the kitchen table, told him, don't ever touch me again, this kind of thing. My mom never touched me again. I grew up in the Rambo era, the Arnold era, the big, strong, take charge guy era, so seeing those guys being able to protect themselves and everything like that was pretty much what spurred me on to beat the abuse and get out of the abuse. And so superheroes were a big part of that.
He just sees somebody in need and does what he needs to do in order to really be helpful, make a difference, see them smile. There was a woman that was on the side of the road up on US 19, and she had an old raggedy car, and it was a hot summer's day, and she had a kid in the back seat, and the kid was dirty. Anyway, she had like a flat tire. So somehow he gets her up to the Tires Plus, up the street or something, and he tells the guy, just get her a new tire, or whatever else she needs, and he just paid for it and went along his merry way. And that, I think, still is kind of an emotional experience for me. I don't know. It never ever happened before Dale moved here. That's all I know. And it's happened frequently. He has a whatever in his car where you can, pump up people's tires, takes them up to the gas station for gas, numerous stories, and he helps them all out, and he's happy to do it. It's inspiring. It's helped me, I think, to grow and become a better human being, which is maybe one of the reasons why I chose him.
Oddly enough, though, I wouldn't change anything. I kind of like how I turned out, so there's no point in changing anything. And if I had to tell a young kid who was going through the same thing, I would tell him, you don't want anything to be changed. You want this to happen. You're going to have more character. You're going to be a better person. Like a lot of people say, like, being an adult, is a big letdown. Well, to me, being an adult is awesome. It was being a kid that was a letdown.
We each really recognize what the other one is and isn't. And we don't really look for the other person to be something different. Although Dale might argue, because I do have OCD. And, no shoes.
I got to get all these pillows right, or Lady Hero will kick my ass. You can tell I'm making a chick bed, because look at this. Now see, this has to go like this, and this, and then this has to go like this. And you can't put two together that are the same thing, because you'll get it. You got to go like that, then like that, and that. That's how you make a chick bed. I never expected my life to turn out this well, actually. Yeah, literally, things could not be better than they are now. It's just a big roller coaster ride. You just roll with it and enjoy it and try to be the best superhero you can be and have a good time with it.
His generous nature is deeply ingrained into who he is, and I don't see that changing at all.
You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're everything I ever wanted in a woman. You changed my life. You make my life better every single day. That without her, I'd be nothing. Yeah, without Lady Hero, superhero would be nothing. That's basically what I'd say to her.
To the end. There's things in life you simply need to know. But sun and rain and trust and letting go.
I don't know, there could be an emotional aspect, because I'm an emotional being, but I have to say that truly, I think he's absolutely an amazing individual. I really do. I love him. I'm so happy that we're married. Just over the top phenomenal.
It just goes to show what they say, that the eyes are the mirror of a soul, because he doesn't really look like much of anything until you start putting his face on him, does he?
There's things in life you simply need to know. But sun and rain and trust and letting go.
Stauffenberg didn't have any fingers on his hand. He'd lost them in Africa. So he took the briefcase with the acid and, clutching it with both hands, he managed to crush the cylinder. But someone pushed the briefcase.
You know, and you just watch Jack Palance telling the story of Stauffenberg as opposed to watching Valkyrie. You don't need to see it. Jack Palance can sum it up for you in 2 minutes. And you're like this in your seat.